Hey everybody, my name is Brodo. I was recently watching Baranox's Twitch clip, basically where he talks about how the recoil is bugged in this game. Or it's functioning in a very odd way, where it sort of builds up over time. Even if you're as you're not controlling it, it will build up, and then you have to overcome both the recoil that's occurring as well as the recoil that has already occurred, and it leads to just inconsistent feeling when pulling down. So what I found when I was testing this out is something interesting. Basically, that originally it was thought that the bullets were center tied in this game, meaning they come out of the center of your screen and not like the reticle or crosshair, not out of your gun. They would come out of the center of your screen. But I will show in just a sec that that is not actually the case. The bullets do come out of the dot and not the center of your screen. It doesn't matter what sight you're using. It does depend on the gun. Some guns, it's more pronounced than other guns. Guns with like more recoil, essentially, it's worse. But since basically ever, as you can see, I'm using an overlay here. I use crosshair overlay in most FPS games, and this is because most FPS games have had their bullets be center tied for forever. But DICE decided they wanted to change the mold or break the mold back in the previous titles and make it so that your bullets are no longer center tied. They come out of like the iron sight or the optic of your gun, no matter where it is on your screen, rather than the center of your screen. Julian Manolov, he's an ex-DICE developer. He was talking about this on Twitter. He basically stated that having your screen move to follow the recoil was jarring and made people motion sick, so that's why the gun moves more than your screen does. And then he said that the bullet should come out of the sight even when that is occurring. It's really dumb. Makes no sense. According to him, this was changed back in BF1 during the quote-unquote visual recoil fix, which actually did nothing for visual recoil. It just made it actually perform worse because now the bullets come out of essentially where your iron sight would be. It's not even consistent because on like optical guns, it doesn't even come out of the dot. It comes out of like where your iron sight would be. It's just really bad. But this was implemented into BF5, and it was also implemented into this game. So basically, if you fire your gun and don't control recoil, the dot will just steadily go way above the center of your screen. And then when you let go, it way overcorrects and goes way below the center of your screen. And if you watch the tracers and the bullet impacts, they follow the dot and not my overlay. They follow the red dot that is rising, as you can see, and they don't actually come out of the center of my screen. Now, if I'm controlling recoil, it stays relatively centered, so it's not that big of a deal in most engagements. But as you can see, like if I move my crosshair around or move my gun around, the dot goes up and down and is constantly moving away from center. If you start controlling the recoil towards the end of this burst, it way overcorrects and goes below the center of your screen. In addition to that weird building up recoil issue, so you just get this really inconsistent feeling. Additionally, when it goes way below center, then it like shoots back to middle. I don't know, it's just really terrible. And again, as far as I can tell, it doesn't really matter what sight you use. I can use this 1.5 to 3. It does the same thing, rises way above center, and the bullets are coming from the dot. They are not coming from my overlay. You can switch to the 1.5. Same thing. If you use a SMG, it's not quite as noticeable. It's actually a lot less noticeable. So if I use an SMG, it stays relatively centered. It goes a little bit above, but yeah, it's not nearly as severe. But another thing that I will show you is that I do have crosshair projection off, but as far as I can tell, this setting only impacts your hip fire crosshair. If it's off, I can jump and move, and my crosshair doesn't move. If I have it on, my crosshair moves around while I'm jumping. But what I will show you is that I don't even think the setting actually makes the bullets come from the center of your screen. I'm pretty sure the bullets still come from where your crosshair would be. So if I jump here and just fire at the top of my jump, you'll see that the majority of the bullets are below the center of my screen. I don't know if you can tell, but they follow that crosshair. Now, if I turn this setting off, I will jump, and you will see that the bullets are still kind of below center. So you have to look at the average because it is a spread. You can see like the black is still the larger concentration of bullets is below center, which is where your crosshair would be with the projection on. So again, I don't think the setting actually does anything. So if you can see the black grouping is where the dot is. So anyway, again, as far as that goes, it appears that you should basically have this setting on, because if you have it off, your bullets aren't actually coming from where your crosshair is. On top of that, you have the optic moving. That setting doesn't appear to actually do anything for your optic because I had it off before. Basically, this makes most of the game... I'm pretty sure this has a pretty big tie-in to why most guns feel pretty bad. A lot of SMGs don't have as big of an issue as I pointed out earlier, but like the PKP, or actually let's try the SCAR. When you're firing it also, you can use this 1X. It does the same thing. It goes above center, and then you let go, and it goes way below center. But the bullets follow the dot and not the center of my screen. But yeah, it's more pronounced on some guns, less pronounced on others. But as you can imagine, if you're moving your sight around, aiming at different targets, and as you can see, the dot is constantly moving, your point of aim is constantly changing, which makes it super inconsistent and makes the game just feel like shit, in addition to the recoil issue and what other mouse input issues are occurring. So I don't know, it's just something that I noticed. Maybe one of you guys can confirm what I'm feeling here and maybe explain what's going on, or essentially it's just shitty that the bullets are not center tied in yet another Battlefield game. So anyway, that's been me. Have a good one.